I do it every time. I'm sorry. So, yeah. What's up, you guys? Welcome back. So what I was just saying that you guys didn't hear was, I know you're not supposed to be here. You're supposed to be over there. But that laptop, or not laptop, that webcam is malfunctional at best today. I fought with it and fought with it. I was actually gonna go live at like 3, but as it turns out, that did not work because I couldn't get the webcam to work. I couldn't get the screen capture to work. I couldn't get the audio to work. I couldn't get anything to work. So, let's see. So today we're gonna be jumping into some PlayStations. The one that I alluded to last video, not the last video. That was just me playing some Tetris, and the video before that. And we're gonna be looking at a PlayStation 2 as well. See if we can't figure out what's going on with them, why they're not working, and what we can do to help them in their pursuit to function properly. I do have a small, really big problem with the PS1, with this guy here. The big problem I have is I only own one PlayStation 1 game, and Grand Theft Auto, or not Grand Theft Auto, Gran Turismo, and I cannot find it. I spent hours yesterday and the life looked, and neither one of us can find it. So wherever I've hidden it very, very well, because I don't even know where it's at. Which is strange because over on a shelf over here is where I keep like all of my test games, right? Games that I have that I just use when I'm streaming or testing a console, something like that, and it is not there. So, I do have some PS2 games, so that's a plus. So we're going to work on one of those as well, and see what we can make it do. In addition to that, I kind of wanted to bring you guys up to speed on a few things, right? A little bit of housekeeping. So, first and foremost, the Xbox prototype. I have done a little bit more work on the design on it and gotten quite a few more things nailed down. Looks great. I'm like this close to ordering the final filament. I did order this box, right? And so what this box is a clear green resin for the resin printer, so we can make the jewel just how we want it. So that did come in. I also sorta finished upgrading one of the 3D printers over there, the one I'm going to use to print it. I got the hot end that I showed in the other video. I got it on. I had to completely, it was a nightmare. I had to completely remake because I put a linear rail on it, and I was going to do a linear rail and the new hot end, and the linear rails bracket didn't fit, and so I made one that would fit it, but it didn't fit, and so I had to redesign it, and then I put the original hot end on. It worked fine, it printed great, it looked beautiful, and then I just decided to upgrade the hot end as well so that I could print some more exotic filaments for the prototype. And so I got it installed, and that was great, except for, let me turn up the background music just a little bit. So at any rate, I had to redesign the carrier, the little bracket for it, which I think I've got one. Yeah, I've got one. This guy. This little guy right here is the little carrier bracket that the 3D printer hot end rides back and forth on. At any rate, so the new hot end was way bigger, so I had to redesign that, and then redesign the redesign, and finally got it to where it was close enough. Nothing a little bit of drilling and filing won't fix, right? And then I had to print it off, put it on, test fit it, and all that stuff, and then I finally printed off a few things. Once I got it up and running, I've still got a few more small tweaks to do, But I do have, I don't know. I think I threw it away already. I printed off a blower fan thing. I bought a fan for my laptop, which I kind of talked about in my other video, the exact last video, where I talked about my laptop was kind of overheating a little bit. I did go ahead and repaste it, and I made the fan. I was going to put a mount a fan to my bracket. What I ended up doing was just pulling out the old laptop cooling stand and putting it on the stand, and then I had to rework the whole stand, get all that done. At any rate, so status is the Xbox prototype is, I'm nearly ready to start printing final pieces. I've got a few more tests to do on that. I do need to pull the other Xbox apart and double check that the layout of all of the standoffs are going to work fine. This week I was going to do some videos during the middle of the week and stuff like that, but I ended up not, and this past week, and a big part of it was work, and a big part of it was health reasons and not feeling real well. So I didn't. And then I was going to stream more last night, but my wife and I, we hadn't really been out on a date in a while, so we went out and had a nice date and got to spend a little bit of time together, which was wonderful. At any rate, also I did get the USB video capture working, which we're going to test that out here in a minute. So bear with me while we get all that stuff done. Other updates. I think that's about it. Yeah. So let's tell you what. Let's switch over to the old top-down view, and let's see what we can play with today. Let's see what we can make work. So I think first and foremost, right up front, let's not get into this guy, the PS2. Let's not do him yet. Let's set him over here for now. So this is the PlayStation 1 that I showed in the other video. And I I showed it and I alluded to it a little bit in that video about how I wasn't sure that it was actually broken. And so I guess let's find out if it's works at all. Let's find out. How hard can it be? I was intelligent enough this time to actually go ahead and round up all the cables and the controllers and everything I could, so that I didn't have to go hunting around the house. Because the only thing I couldn't find was the stupid game. Couldn't find it at all. So let me double check the audio on this and make sure everything sounds right.
So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna put this guy down before I break it. Put this guy back over here before I break it. Here's what I'm gonna do.
Okay, everything seems to be sounding right. You know, I'm always wanting to double check. Now let me let's flip over to I just want to turn him on so I'm sure I've got the correct display capturing.
What do you guys want to see? You want to see the get reassembled?
Okay.
Do that, or I can put the intro on.
Move this guy over here.
Or I can put on the
Sorry, I'll turn it back off. I just want to pop this up real quick. I try to keep the little chat window open so you guys can see it. All right, let's turn him back off now that I know I got it. So let's see if it works. Let's find out. Let's move him down here. So voila, there we go. Let's hook a controller up. So this was sold to me, if you guys remember from the last video, as not working, and then they put in quotation marks in the description that they didn't have a power cord to test it. So I ordered one to see if it would work. And
So we're gonna do that when we get back. All right. So I guess you guys.
so if I click the CD button, nothing comes up, but I would expect that as I don't have a disk or anything in it. The memory card's obviously not going to show anything because we don't have a memory card in it. So it does at least turn on. That's good. I'm not real happy, by the way, with this USB video capture thing. I wonder what happens. I wonder what would happen if I just, I've got this. We'll just throw this in. This is a PS3 disc, so it's obviously not going to read it, but it will tell us if the disc actually works. So let's find out. I don't hear it. Let's turn him off. I'll tell you what's interesting about this is there should be like it should be spinning the disc up, but it's not. Let's turn him back on and see. Hi. Yeah, I don't hear it at all. Okay, so if it is not even spinning the disc up, I guess what we need to do is switch over here. Let's unplug it. Get all the things out of the way. And let's find out, let's see if we can't take a look and figure out a little bit about why it is not doing a thing. And it really isn't. It's doing no thing at all. Nothing. Sorry, I was just scrolling over. I had a notification on Twitter and I saw it, and it's a Japanese guy has made a miniature Sega Saturn watch for your wrist, and so I just retweeted it. That is the coolest thing I have literally ever seen. I'll tell you what I'm going to do because I like it so very much. I'm going to pull it up and put it on screen. Would you just look at that? Is that not the most, look at it. It's actually got a watch. I couldn't tell on the small buttons. It's actually got a watch inside of it. That is amazing. How cool is that? Wow. It's even got the little ribbing on the inside of the disc tray. That is amazing. That's really cool, man. Okay, so I did say in my last video that I had already cheated a little bit on this guy, and when I say that I cheated, what I meant was that I had already plugged it up, and I've already taken a very, very small peek at it, but not really in depthly. So we'll pull this guy apart. So when you're taking apart a PS1, so there's the original PlayStation that later became the PS1, right? The original PlayStation was the big gray chunky boy. And then when they released the PS2, they made the PS1 smaller, the original PlayStation smaller, and renamed it to PS1. Capital P, capital S, little O and E. And gave it a different font for PS1. It's just more rounded font and all that. At any rate, and that is what this guy right here is. He is a PS1. Now, I had an original PlayStation, and I also later bought a PS1 because I bought it because they had the little travel screen that you could screw onto the back of it. On the back of the guy, it has two little bitty holes, and you could screw this monitor mount into these little holes, and it laid over the top of it, and it came up, and then it was just the shape of this. Had two little tiny speakers in it, and it all worked. It had a power pass through and everything. It was great. Really stinking cool. Yeah, so there's a hidden screw underneath this warranty seal right here that you do have to pry back. If you're careful with it and you go slowly, it's one of those that's going to leave behind the void lettering. But if you're real careful with how you peel it up, when you put it back down, you almost can't see it. You'll be able to see it, but you almost can't. So once you remove those 6 screws, you'll flip it open. You've got a little bit of a metal tray right here that just holds in some of the screws and stuff for the eject and power button. Nothing really special. And then we get into kind of the heart of the system. So this is our power on off switch. We've got our LED right here. We could probably change that over from green to another color if we so decided. We've got power for our disk drive here. There should also be, this right here is going to be our disk drive open and close button. That's what this guy right here is. And I'm looking for, what moves when we open this? Oh, okay, this little guy right here moves. Well, if that moves, oh, okay, this is what, when we push this down to eject, it now thinks the disk drive is open. Yeah, so when you push this up, there's a little bit of plastic that comes out of this little hole right here when you go to eject it. And when you push that, its circuit interrupts this guy. But here's the thing though, when it's ejected and you let go of it, the power button, what releases this? So when we push it back down, I'm sorry, I'm looking because this is, I think this, what hits that switch?
Flip this guy around because he had a lot of corrosion around this clock capacitor. So for those of you that don't know.
Oh, okay. All right, so what we've got is, this is how it knows. Never mind this little hole. It's this little pin right here, this little wobbly guy right here. So this little wobbly guy right here, when he's closed, he sticks up a little bit. And which because I say up, he pushes down a little bit and pushes on our little switch right here. I know my arm's in the way. Our little switch right there, okay? And then when you eject it, he drops down. I mean, just, if you're looking at it straight on, you would never be able to tell that it was down. Okay. So the problem might be in this switch. Might be. I don't know yet. I do want to, I'm just looking right now. And we're going to set him back down. We're going to hook him back up. what I want to find out is, that if I flip all of this over, plug this guy back up, put a disc in it, hold this down. See, our disc starts to spin there. It starts to, but it's not actually getting anything.
I don't care which version you got, they all eventually. And every electrolytic capacitor.
Oh, I know what it is.
Will eventually leak. Whether it's used or not, they all will eventually leak. But that one, the clock
I can
capacitor
shrink
is
this. I'm gonna close. I'm gonna shrink it.
for being a very, very, very easy boy.
So, if I lift this up, it starts to spin,
So that's going to be step one. And then I'm just going to take isopropyl
but it won't.
down this board and let it just drain off. Let all of that junk
Okay,
that's in there everywhere run down this
let's turn him back off.
pour off onto our paper towel.
So our disk drive motor here is spinning. That's a good sign. So the next thing we're gonna do is remove. This is the worst, by the way. Getting this guy. It's just an incredibly difficult little connector that they wedged into this little hole here. I mean, incredibly difficult. So there's our disk drive. He's kind of gunky. I mean, not like the worst I've ever seen, but he's kind of gunky. What I'm gonna do is just take. I was hoping.
I'm not heating the board up. I mean, I guess I am inevitably going to warm it some. My goal here is not to heat the board up.
What I'm doing is spinning. Show you on the little mobile cam right up in the upper left-hand corner. Here's the motor that drives the carriage back and forth. And so what I'm doing is I'm spinning this guy with the tip of my screwdriver, and it's sliding the carriage, the laser carriage, backwards. I don't have to go very far. Okay, just enough to create some sort of a gap. So now I'm going to drop him back down. What we're trying to do here is establish for 100% whether our disk drive actually functions or it doesn't. So we know the spinny works. Now we're trying to find if the actual head moves. So I'm gonna close our switch. Okay, so we saw it move, yep, and it's now lifting up and down, and it's not reading anything. I know it's a PS3 game, that's probably why it's not reading, but to be perfectly honest, it's not like I wasn't going to pull this guy apart anyway. So here's what we're going to do. Man, if I had anything at all, I don't have anything that will play. I don't even have any CDs anymore.
So the first one that we're going to remove is going to be this nasty little clock capacitor.
So this is on the side of this guy is your trim pot. This is your laser adjustment trim pot right here. There are some places that will tell you to adjust this, and I will tell you the same thing. However, I will throw more caution to the wind and say, do not adjust this unless you know what you're doing and how you're going to do it and what the control does. There are several tutorials out that you can go and look at and read on, and they will help you dramatically with how you adjust it. It's really, you can really mess up your console. You legitimately can. So here's the thing. I'm gonna say at this point that this console 100% works.
Now, always make sure.
I'm gonna say it does. I don't see anything wrong with it. The disc is spinning. So we're gonna just give the board a clean and clean the parts, and we're gonna put it back together. Because it's powering on, it's acknowledging our controller commands. The disc is spinning. The laser is moving up and down as it should to focus itself. So if it's doing all of the things and the disc is spinning and everything else, then the console at this point should, and it's displaying output, it's accepting power, it's reading, there has been something spilled in here. There has been something spilled in here. Maybe. I don't know. I think there's something has been spilled in here. Other than the alcohol that I just poured in it. I think there has been. I don't know. Could just be the alcohol that I just poured in. So one of the big changes they made with the PS1 versus the original PlayStation, one of the big changes that they made is they took the power supply out of it. And instead of having a power supply built in and you hooked up one of the large 120 volt cords, now what you do is you buy an external power adapter, or it came with an external power adapter, right? And it was a little gray guy and plugged up to the wall. Output 7.6 volts, 7.5, something like that. I'm not sure. This one did not come with one, so I had to go buy one because I didn't have one. So that is one of the ways that they were able to shrunk down. Because if you look at the original PlayStation board, it is not this. I mean, it's bigger than this, but it's not huge. It's really not. And I think at this point everybody knows that I am not a Sony fanboy. I'm not. I never will be. I am original Sony fanboy, right? I love the original PlayStation. I love it. I love the original games. But kind of after PS2, that's where they lost me. And I say they lost me. There was not. This is gonna be one of those hot take moments. Is what this is gonna be. This is gonna be. I'm gonna get myself in trouble, and everybody's gonna yell at me. And just let me. I'm gonna do it anyway. I don't care. They didn't have anything compelling for me. And once Microsoft dropped the original Xbox, that was it. That was game over for Sony as far as I was concerned. And it's not even that I disliked them. At the time, I loved Sony. I got the the original Xbox just because I wanted it and it was something to try out, right? It was new and I was a gamer, and so I got one. But so compelling was Microsoft's product. I could see the vision behind it, what they were trying to do. So compelling was that it was game over for Sony. I never looked back. Now, when I say nothing compelling, let's all be honest. Tell me, now at the time, and I still am, I was a huge racing game guy. After Gran Turismo 2, and I might even give you 3, name for me a racing game that Sony had that could touch Forza. You can't. You just can't. And Forza was one of those moments where Microsoft came out guns blazing and said, we're going to do this, and we're going to do it so much better because we have the money, we have the ability, we can hire the right people, we can make the game what our market wants. Yeah, something's been spilled in here. That's okay. They could do that, and they did. It was a moonshot moment. It was, for the racing sim world, that was the moment at which, everybody, look at that. Look at that right there. Where did that come from? Come here, you. There's this little bitty pin right here. That broke off of something. This little piece of plastic right here. Can you see that? That came off of something. I have to find out where that came from. Anyway, yeah, that was Microsoft's shot across the bow to the racing world because at the time, you have to remember, right? Like Resident Evil was doing huge things, and nobody had yet. Sorry, Crash Bandicoot. Oh, it broke off of this little corner right here. That's where it broke off of. Okay, all right, I'll buy that. That's okay. Nobody was touching Mario. Sega was. Nobody was touching Sonic yet. As far as the action platformers, I mean, I'm just sorry. I'm not saying that there weren't some good games. There certainly were, but nobody was touching Mario. Nobody. Mario 64 had locked it as far as the action platformer genre went, and that's my opinion. But I'm right, and so there's no point in arguing with me. As far as Need for Speed was a fantastic game, and that was on PlayStation. And Need for Speed was one of those that was for an arcade racer. It was fantastic, phenomenal, great game. The best. Until and I'm sorry, until Midnight Club came out and kind of shut that down. And that was Rockstar's moment of going, that was Rockstar's screw you moment to everybody, their moonshot, their moment. But that, honestly, and a lot of games, Toka and everything else came out as far as the racing games go, but other than, you had Metal Gear, that was on the PlayStation, and that was fantastic. But nothing, the video game world was very much, I'm not saying that there weren't any great games, but, when we look at the evolution of the PS1, right, and we look at the games that set the world on fire, right? Resident Evil, absolutely. And I'm gonna get yelled at by all of my fellow Sega nerds here for a second, if you guys don't mind. They're fixing to all go nuts and yell at me. But other than Shenmue. Name for me another game that was out on Dreamcast or even Saturn that was even in the ballpark of what Metal Gear Solid was doing. Okay? You can't. There aren't any. You know, name for me, if you can, which I say that tongue in cheek, I know you can't. You know, it's not about, well, I really liked this game. Well, there are a lot of games that I really liked. You know, I really liked 4x4 Off-Road Evo 2. I thought it was a fantastic game. I loved that game. But it wasn't a big seller, and it, you know, it didn't, if it had been that big of a game, let me say it like this. It wasn't a console seller. You might have bought a GameCube for Auto Modelista, right? You might have bought one. You might have bought, N64. You might have bought an N64 for Mario Kart. But you didn't buy, most people did not buy an N64 for Mario Kart. They didn't buy a GameCube for Mario Kart. They bought a GameCube for the platform, the entire package, the Zeldas, the Metroids, you know, the whole thing. Metal Gear Solid, Gran Turismo, those were console sellers, right? And that's what I mean. I'm not knocking some of the great games, not at all. I love them. But when you talk about what Sony did that Nintendo and Sega never could. Sony made or helped develop games that were console sellers. They backed the developers and allowed them to create the ultimate game. They had the hardware and the software locked down. And so the developers, Konami, Capcom, Tekken, yeah, I know Tekken's not a developer. I know I'm going through the list of games, you know. Everything was there in Sony's field, and where Nintendo wanted to lock everything down, Sony finally hit on the formula that allowed the developers to run wild with their imagination. It didn't have to fit into this bubble that Nintendo said was okay. Sega had tried to break that code for a long time. They had failed, but they tried to break that code, and they almost succeeded. You know, they did with the Genesis for a long time. The Genesis, even though, you know, they didn't outsell the NES, they were stomping Nintendo for a long time. You know, even with the release of the Super Nintendo, it's still, I mean, yes, it was way beyond an original NES, but it wasn't too far beyond a Genesis and a Genesis capabilities, you know. And the reason I say all that is to bring it back to the point of where Sony lost me. Sony lost me when Microsoft showed up. Not because it was Microsoft. Not because Sony was doing a bad job. I liked, personally, preferentially, I liked Microsoft's platform better than I liked Sony's. And I liked the racing games. I liked the video. I liked the first-person shooters better. You know, Tom Clancy, Splinter Cell, you know, Medal of Honor, all of those. I'm sorry. They were just a better experience for me. This is personally for me. This is not you guys. You don't have to agree with me at all. But they were a better experience for me than what Sony was bringing to the table. And I'm not trashing Sony at all. I'm just saying that for me, I liked what Sony was bringing to the table, or sorry, Microsoft was bringing to the table. I preferred that platform. I preferred the method. I preferred everything they were doing. I personally preferred it over what Sony was doing. And so the PlayStation 2 was a monster. Greatest selling console of all time. By a landslide. And when you talk about the biggest screw ups in business history and in console history, how does the established king, the reigning king with the largest best-selling console of all time, right? How do they get absolutely owned the next generation out? Now, yes, I am aware that technically the PS3 outsold the 360. However, if we're going to be honest about the whole thing, Sony also continued selling the PS3 for years after Microsoft had already launched the Xbox One, had moved on and pretty all but given up on the 360. Yes, I know the PS3 did outsell it finally. But if you look at the charts, I think it took like 5 more years. And that is after Microsoft absolutely blew it with the launch of the 360. They blew it, with the Red Ring of Death and all that, and Microsoft still mopped the floor with Sony, the undisputed reigning king of game consoles. And why were they able to do that? To date, up until the 360, the only other game console Microsoft Xbox had released was the original Xbox, and it was a PC in a box to get them inside the door. And it did not sell very many more units than the Dreamcast sold. They lost money on every single one they sold. It was obscene. And yes, Microsoft could afford to do it and all of that. Yes, agreed. But what got gamers to give the Xbox a shot? What is it? It was the vision. It is the same thing that got gamers to give Sony and this stupid little PlayStation a chance, right? Sony's entering the market. They're going to get destroyed by Sega and Nintendo. There's no point. Nobody's even going to go over there to them. No. Sony ended up making a world beater. They really, really, really legitimately did. And kudos to them. What made them lose it to the 360? Oh. They got their vision and their drive got
right? You really don't.
too big.
I mean, you should
The same reason,
make sure that you're putting them in
the same reason
correctly and all that stuff.
that Microsoft's Series S, the little console that could, that everybody laughed at and said this is stupid, and there were constant reviews about this thing will never sell and it's not as powerful and nobody's going to want that, literally outsold the PS5
Together, then you're good.
already.
Okay?
Has outsold the PS5.
That's what you have to worry about. Also,
How?
if
How is that possible?
at home,
Because Microsoft did what Sony wouldn't. They acknowledged that there were gamers out there who could not afford, that couldn't afford to buy into, with the chip market down and all the rest of it, with all of that stuff going on, they acknowledged that, I'm sorry, I'm trying to tune my camera in just a little bit. They acknowledged that there was a whole market of people they couldn't reach, and they found a way to reach them, right? When I bought my Series X, I did not get a Series S. My stepson got one. It has been substantially easier to get a hold of a Series S than a Series X or a PS5 since day one. Literally. If you wanted one, you could get them all day long. Yes, I know that during Christmas time they were sold out and couldn't get anything and all that, but I'll be honest with you, during Christmas time, you may have had to plot and plan a little bit, but you could get one. It wasn't that hard. It really, really wasn't. So it was Sony that lost me. And since then, I've just been a Microsoft fanboy. Sorry, but what that doesn't mean is that I don't care about this guy, right? And the original PlayStation and even the PS2, I do. I care about them greatly. It's the PS3 and everything else that I, not really into it. At any rate, I think I've probably angered enough people with that whole rant. So here's what I'm going to do. This one is, I'm not even willing to say that this was even broken. I think it was just untestable. And so I think I've got it to about where it can go. So I'm going to go take a real quick break, double check and make sure that I didn't miss any of my medication stuff. And then I'm going to come back and we're going to take a look at the PS2. I have no idea what shape this is in. This is one of the bundle that I got from Josh over here, Tornado. I literally, the thing might turn on, it might not. It might blow up in our face. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. So we're going to see. Don't know. Don't even know if it turns on. We'll find out. At any rate, I'll be back to hang out with you guys in just a few minutes.
Change the voltage up, don't go down, up, right? If you go down on the voltage, right, if you put like a 10 volt or a 5 volt or a 6.3 volt in here, what's going to happen is when this circuit energizes, it's going to explode this capacitor, and all the electrolytic fluid inside is going to vent out and leak all over your board. But if you go up in the voltage, fine, completely fine. Just don't change the capacitor unless you know exactly what you're doing in life. Okay, getting back to work. So over here on console, we know we're C7G1, this guy right here. We know it's a 1500 UF 16 volt. So if you're following along, if you're doing this at home, when you read this number, let me switch back over to the microscope. When you read this number, right here, this number, right, you can correspond that with what's on console 5 checklist, and you can replace that capacitor with the correct one. Okay? find our white line. We're going to find our white line. We're just going to poke him right through, okay? All the way down, flush to the board, okay? When I say flush to the board, let me transition over to this guy, okay? And we'll come in nice and close, right? And so when I say flush to the board, you can see this guy right here. I mean all the way down. So don't put him in, up, all the way down. Now, the only exception to this is if you explicitly need to fold this capacitor over, right? And some of the older consoles will have these folded over, then by all means, leave him up and fold him over. But there's tricks to that, and I'll show you those in some of my other videos. For this one though, working on an Xbox specifically, all the way down flush to the board, okay? Then, we're going to look underneath and we're going to find these legs. Okay? We're going to hold him up. Okay? You see my fingers on him right here. Hold him up flush to the board. We're going to put a little bit of flux. Okay? We're going to take our soldering iron. Okay? Our solder. Put a little bit of solder on the tip of our soldering iron. Come right up here to this leg. Just touch it. Down at the bottom. That's it. We're done. Same thing. That's it. We're done. Done. That quick. That easy. Okay? Just like that. Now, if you're doing this at home, again, you're following along and all that stuff, you want to know how to do this, I am running probably hotter than you're going to want to. I am running at about 420 degrees C, which is probably a little bit hotter than you're going to want to at home. Notice I'm also coming in with flush cutters, and I'm cutting these component legs off, okay? As close down, as tight down to the board as I can get them, okay? And so I'll switch back over to our microscope, and we will find where we're at. Right here, these two guys, okay? These are the two we just put in, these guys. So we can come back over here and just heat them up and make them look pretty. Beautiful. Excellent job. You did great. Very proud of you. Also, when you're done, come in with a little bit of flux remover, a little IPA, a little isopropyl alcohol, and clean that flux off of that leg. And then your board will be left beautiful, you'll be happy, and it'll last a long time. So, having done that, we're going to switch back over, away from our microscope, and we're going to go, we're going to get down to business on this guy once I figure out how to back in here, we're going to come to our second one. Let it heat up.
And we're back. So let's get this little guy out of the way for now. And let's get the big PlayStation up on the table. So, sorry, I just got finished answering a literally, I don't know, silly question. At any rate, so we got this guy up here. Let me go ahead and get the power cord hooked up. I know it's laying down here because I was smart and I got everything ready. What I didn't remember to do was leave a space for my power cord. That's no good. Turn that off. Plug him in. Oh my God. The disc jumped out at me. Well, it's on. It turned on, I guess. Let's find out. Let's plug him up. See what happens. Well, I don't know. Whoops. I don't know because I don't know if the PS1 cable works on it, but I think it does. Let's see what happens.
You're going to get vias that won't clear. That's going to happen. It's no big deal.
The disk drive does indeed open. And we have a screen. Well, let's get a game. Let's get a game. Let's find out. Let's put this game in. I also have a PlayStation memory card, PS2 memory card. Let's see if this guy works as well. This is supposed to be James Bond 007 Nightfire. Let's see. I hear the disk drive whirring away. So that's a good sign. May not seem like it, but it is. So we're 3001 console on 1.1 of everything. Did I take the other one in there? The okay. Sorry. It's the nightly pill taking time for me. 1/8/2023. Well, that's obviously wrong. So it does not appear. That'll do it. That disc is pretty much ruined. So, okay. Let's put him back in there and we'll try a different disc. We'll try Gran Turismo 3. Let's see if this one ought to work. He's okay. He's not beautiful, but he's okay. I hear it. It's ticking. I don't know that it's reading. Our power button is all kinds of floppy. So that was our reset signal. Reset does seem to work. Let's see. No, it is not going to read the disk. Okay. Well. Let's remove the disk. Oh wait, that's why it won't read. Oh wait, that's why it won't read. It's not Gran Turismo, it is Call of Duty Ghosts. You have to love it. Okay, give me let's just let it sit right there for a second. Give me just a minute. Let me go over here and see if I can find another actual PS2 game.
I'm not doing anything on screen right now. I have pinched something. That and it really, really, really hurts. A lot. It really. What I have pinched. My video.
Okay. We're back. That's a plus. I can also hear that the fan does work, so it's also a plus. Oh, now it is doing things, it's making other noises. I didn't even... I don't think it's reading. Hit our reset. See if it'll come up. And while it's doing that, I'll go through these other discs that are up here. Medal of Honor, European Assault. That one is scratched really bad. Jurassic Park, Operation Genesis. Oh boy, look, and we've got Rudolph and the Joy of Christmas and Frosty the Snowman. That's fantastic. I don't know if you guys can hear that in the background. My dog's got a squeaky toy. Yeah. And then we've got Hitman Blood Money. Let's see, is this disc in here? No, there's nothing in this at all. So, let me have this back. This disc really ought to work. I mean, he's just slightly fingerprinty, but he's okay. I am going to guess that it's not working. Honey, he was okay. I know, but he likes to play with his tennis ball. Let's see. I doubt it's going to read this, but let's just find out. I think that the console appears to work for the most part. Oh, now we've got spinny noises. I don't know if you guys can hear that. I don't know if that's coming through. Wait. All right. Wait for it. Look at that. Okay, so our disk drive, we're not gonna play this at all. We don't want to get a copyright strike of any kind. So we're gonna go ahead and remove Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Okay, and we are showing now our memory card is showing up. So we can go and take a look. Let's see. Let's enter on our memory card. Enter on our memory card. System configuration. That's all that's on that. I wonder why this game is not working. This is a PS2 game. The disc is, I mean, it's a little dirty, but it ain't bad. Let's clean it up a little bit and see if maybe hitting it with just a little bit of isopropyl will clean this guy up. And yes, I know I'm going to use a paper towel, and you really shouldn't do that. I could get some like plastic polish and polish it, but I don't think it needs that. I really think, for the most part, like, I really think this disc ought to play. I feel like it should. We'll just give it another shot. It's ticking away, but it doesn't seem to want to do anything. So it's showing us reading disk now. Disk read error. Okay. So that actually could be good or bad. I think that disc is probably okay. I think it is. What we're going to do is remove this guy. Let's power it off and take this thing apart and see what's going on with this, shall we? If I had to guess, I think what's going on here is that the console is filthy. And when I switch over to this view, I don't know if you guys can see this well or not, but this thing is an absolute train wreck as far as it being a very, very, very dirty boy. He really is. He is just absolutely caked in nasty everywhere. There's a big gouge out of the plastic here too. Just dirty and dusty, and yeah, all of that. All of that. Looks like the back of our case is broken here too. I don't know if you guys can see that, but the plastic is broken on it right there. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just taking also our disk drive base is broken off. Oh, you guys, can you see that? It's completely missing. That's no big deal because I think I can 3D print one. That's not a huge deal. I'm just taking a look at everything else while I'm here before I go any further. And the point of that is to make sure that I'm not missing anything when I go to take this thing apart. You know, because if there can be stuff, you know, on the outside of it that would give you reason to not want to open it up. And we want to make sure we look for those signs. Those types of things, by the way, are critters crawling out of it. That's one of those, put it immediately in the trash can or in a trash bag type of things. Do we see any liquid damage anywhere? You know, stuff like that. I know I've talked about this before on stream, but if there's one thing that gets under my skin, it's critters. And I say critters because I'm trying to be not... When you open up a console and there are roaches climbing out of it, or when you touch one, that's a bad day for everybody involved. And you'd be surprised how often that happens. I don't know why. But it does. don't know why they like the inside of consoles, but they apparently they do. I don't know. I can almost tell you. I can almost tell you for 100% when I pick a console up and look at it, I can almost tell you for 100% if it's gonna have bugs crawling out of it or not. Now, I've been surprised a few times. Here's another one of these stupid warranty do not remove stickers. And so we're gonna try. Yeah, there's no way. This has got the inevitable void sticker stuff underneath it. And so what you want to do when you run into one like this, you guys can't see what I'm doing. Let me turn around this way. What you want to do, there is no way around this. And I say there's no way. I have seen a couple of methods. I've tried a couple of methods. I can never get any of the methods to work. What you want to do is try to roll it backwards only as far as is absolutely required. Okay? But leave it still stuck so that we can roll it back down, and it'll be not impossible, but it'll at least look decent. So let's remove this bottom portion. We got a little dust in there, but nothing terrible. Okay. So with this guy and this guy. Let's say the top of this just about ought to come off now. It really should. Oh, the seal. The stupid seal has us over here. So, the way this seal is positioned, well, they really screw you on this one, don't they? I mean, they really, man. See, this is another one of those Sony moment. I hate these things. What's the point of this? To absolutely ensure that no one ever opens up your beloved console? Come on, get real. Oh, there's screws up front. There's screws. There's a screw. There's two screws right here I missed. Two screws I missed. Two little screws. I tell you what they didn't do, and this is a little bit shocking to me. Sony's usually pretty good about it. The amount of leftover flux everywhere is a little shocking to me. Sony is usually the exact opposite of that. They're usually on Nintendo level as far as making sure that their products are cleaned and washed at the factory and that everything looks just as it should. You know, their presentation is usually pretty good, man. I can't get this thing to come apart. It's almost like there's a screw that I'm missing, but I know that there isn't. There cannot be. You're just gonna fight with it for a few minutes, it looks like. It's okay. So what you want to do, the trick is to taking a console apart. Oh, what an idiot. the number one trick is don't be an idiot. I literally removed the caps but didn't take the screws out. So I accomplished nothing other than being an idiot. That happens sometimes. Sorry. Watch this. You have got to love that. You really do. You have to love it. Okay. So. So this right here comes off. I just don't remember off the top of my head. It's been a while. It's been a very long while since I have played with an original PS5 or PS2 Fat. Voila. That's what we were looking for right there. Okay. Here's our floppy button. One of our floppy buttons. The other one's still on our switch. We need to take a closer look at that power button because he, is he broken? Is that the problem? Is he broken? Let's see here. He should go this way. He is broken. Yeah. That's okay. We'll have to glue him back on. That's why he's so floppy. We'll have to glue him back on. Okay. Well, that's no big deal. All right. So, looking at this guy, he's a little dusty. He's a little dusty. Let's pop the disk drive off. So far, all of the screws are the same size so far. There's going to be connectors for this disk drive. There's about got to be. I don't know where they're at yet. Unless they connect. Right there. This is where they're going to connect. So we're going to flip this guy right here up. Remove that. And then there's a connector. Boy, what a... Oh boy. I don't like that at all. It's got both of our cables out of the way. I really wanted the drive cage off. You can put a 3.5-inch drive in this guy. That was not the right thing to grab. I grabbed way too much all at once. So now our disk drive should come right out. We're going to set him aside for now. I can see the dust inside of it already. It's probably just dirty, but we're just going to set him aside for now. I want to take a moment and get a good look at the power board. I'm probably going to pull him. I think I'm gonna. I really do think that this thing works. It's just dirty. Now, if that's the case, if it's just dirty, then we're going to have a talk with our buddy over at Harry Tornado. We're going to have a talk with him. In all fairness, I think if I remember correctly, he sold these as unknown. This is a Nichicon power board. How about that? So he's a little dusty, but all of the capacitors are actually in great shape. So if you guys remember, I'm I'm going to bring this up here to the little mobile cam. Matter of fact, I'll switch over so we can get them all the way on screen. So if you guys remember from the Xbox video, the recapping, so these big aluminum guys right here that were bulging out and had vented on our Xbox board, you notice how these are perfectly flat? If you look at the top of them, you can see the X that's etched into them, okay? So that etch is where it's going to allow itself to vent, if it does. And then this is another one of those little aluminum guys right here, and he's also got a little X etched into the top of him, right? Which all that's great, okay? But these are such good caps, and this board was designed so well. Like I said, this is an actual, I don't know if you can make that out on stream. Yeah, it's an actual Nichicon of Japan power board. And so we've got a couple fuses, a 3.15 at 125, and then this is a, oh, there's a specific word for it. It is not, my brain is blank. It's not ceramic. There's another word for it. I can't remember off the top of my head. At any rate, so this is another fuse. It's over here. It's another 250 volt fuse. And if you'll notice right here, they're saying no touch in this area up here, right? And so if we flip this board over, the reason they're saying no touch is you've got a lot of power right here in this area. A lot of power. This is where our AC travels until we hit the transformer. And you notice they've got everything marked off, so they don't want you touching anywhere up here. And they've got a primary side listed over here on our transformer, secondary side over here. We've got a couple of power MOSFETs, a K2545. I can't see this one. I can't see him. A couple of inductors. This is a very, very well built board. This is shockingly good. It's clean. There's a little bit of residue flux left over here or there, but overall, this is in shockingly good condition. I would be surprised if this ever failed. I really would. I would be shocked. Okay, so we've made it that far. Shall we go a little further? This fly, I'm telling you, it's turning spring here, and with springtime comes all the flies decide to wake up one day and then all come inside. I don't know. I guess we're just gonna have to unscrew the whole thing. So far, like I said, okay, now we get into some smaller screws around this edge. This is gonna be our, if I had to wager, I think that's gonna be our, yeah, this is our controller port right here. This is him with his black ribbon cable. Okay, he's very dirty and dusty. And then we've got this brick connector. I may leave him unless I have to remove him. But I think, yeah, here we go. This is what, it's like there's something holding us together here. Look, there's something holding us together over there too. But there's, oh, there's a screw there. Well, there's a screw right there. That shouldn't be holding us together. Might be. I just want to free up the drive cage, but it just doesn't want to, it just doesn't want to let go. shoe fly.
No, excuse me. So, what does that leave us for today? Well,
There it is.
leaves me with,
Just a little wiggly. Okay.
and
So this is our
so we talked a lot about
brick connector, Lego style brick connector for our SATA on our hard drive if we install it.
really cool.
You guys notice that this is a really large brick connector, and I know it. And so the way that I'm going about removing it is to use the blunt edge of something to get under the corners until I can lift it up. That is the proper technique to remove it. Now we are down. Oh my God, we've left the fan plugged in. Voila. Well, that's funny. You can, I don't know if you guys can make that out. Yeah, you can see that a little bit on screen. You can see the direction of airflow across this guy. That's funny. Okay. So I do know our fan spins, and we'll have to take him out because he's dirty. Sony just, I gotta give Sony some credit. I do. They come up with the most absolutely intricate designs for assembling and putting, you know, laying out their consoles. I mean, they're on a whole other level. Nintendo's path is, you know, run screws in it until it can't move, ever. You know, Microsoft's approach is, you know, brute force the thing, you know. And, you know, Atari's method was, good enough, you know. So this is our oh my God, look at the dust. You guys see that? Look at all of the dust caked up inside of here. Wow. Sega's approach is, this will work. Atari's is, will it make it out the door? It's good. It's fine. No, I say all that. Sony really does have. They've got to have. I don't know what they pay their engineers for their board layout. I have no idea, but whatever it is, they ain't getting paid enough. I can tell you that, right? They're not getting paid enough. I feel like I'm looking at this, and this should come apart right here, and it does. Look at there. Good job. So if that comes off, what is still holding us on? Because they're engineers, man. As far as the layout, it is amazing. And I'm dead serious about that. Every Sony console that I pull apart and look at, every single one, doesn't matter how many times I've seen the insides of one, I just sit back in awe and go, just how clever, you know? How clever. They just really, they're on a whole other level of engineering and board design, layout, console layout. They're just, you know, they really are. They're on a whole other, they're playing a whole different game than everybody else is. I don't know what has this thing stuck together, but something does. Am I missing a screw somewhere? Maybe is it underneath this pad? This very large, oh my God, we've ripped the pad. Oopsie, don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody we did this. Nobody will know. Oh, we're not missing any screws. I know we're not. driving me crazy. If you guys don't tell anybody I ripped that pad, no one will ever know. Okay, I don't want to just rip it apart, but I feel like I'm down to the point where I don't see anything else that could possibly be holding us together. There's no screw in the middle of this guy. That is way too bright. I know what we need. I know exactly what we need. We need a little heat. I think what we've got is a case of some thermal paste that is stuck. Oh, there's a power connector. There's a power connector between the two boards. Okay. Okay. And it's one of those stupid push together power connectors too, I think. Yep. Which means I really just don't. I hate these stupid things so bad. Really, really, really do. Hate them. I don't know. I'm gonna have to Google this. I can't see if there's a clip on it. And I don't remember if there's a clip on it. I don't know. I mean, I could just desolder them. I don't like it. No, sir. I don't even know that I can desolder it. We give it a shot. I hate to go this route, but I don't. I want to be somewhat gentle. I really genuinely do. I want to try to be somewhat gentle. Turned off my hot air gun. Dummy. Go away, fly. I'm trying to speed up my hot air gun by using my desoldering gun by using my hot air gun. It's the only thing that I don't like about the desoldering gun is it takes so long to come up to temperature, and it won't do anything. Which, I mean, I understand, but it will literally do nothing until it is heated up. Probably go ahead and turn on the soldering iron too, because I got a feeling that this thing, even once I get it up to temp, those are just huge pads. They are monsters. And I got a nasty, nasty, nasty feeling that it is not going to want to cooperate in any measurable way. How are you still preheating? I heated you up. Yep, that's what I thought was going to happen. if you guys notice the pulling technique that I'm using here, which I will freely admit that I don't like. My tip, there's a metal base plate underneath this guy. And so what I'm pushing this way so that all of my sharp pointy pressure goes down towards the metal thing and all of my lifty pressure comes up. Ow. Stupidest design known to man. The absolute stupidest design known to mankind right there. That was it. There's our 2032. We didn't destroy any vias. I don't know if these do come out. I don't know how they couldn't, but I cannot figure out for the life of me how you would ever get them out. I really legitimately cannot. Without destroying that board. All thermal pads. All thermal pads, no thermal paste. Look at that. Well, the good news is we're going to replace these with some thermal pads that actually work, because these I'm sure suck. Look at all, so there's the dust right there. There's some of it. Look at all the dust built up around this capacitor though. This is the ultimate. So not Sony, Microsoft made a big deal about how they did a back-to-back board. Sorry, I'm just looking at the components around this board. It's fine. We've got a PlayStation branded CR2032. We're going to replace that 100%. But Sony was actually the first to do a back-to-back board. I wonder, no, there's no way, because this guy, how does he sit? He sits this way. Yeah. We'll put pads back on it, but once we clean it up. Now that we're at least in it. And the old graphic synthesizer. Fantastic. Well, we're in. We're in. That's something. So, I guess where that leaves us is up here. You up here. So I guess where that leaves us is the wife has now called me and said, I can no longer stream. I'm not allowed. That your hobby is stupid and you should stop it. No, she didn't say that at all. She just said that it was dinner time, and so I gotta go eat. I gotta go eat because it's dinner time. I could turn him down a little bit. That probably wouldn't hurt. There we go. So I guess that's where we're gonna leave this off. So we did get the PS1 working, which I don't think there was anything wrong with it, but we did clean it up, put it back together. I'll round up the Gran Turismo disc at some point, and we'll find out and double check and verify that the thing does actually fully function. but it seems to. So that's good. This one we verified will at least read DVDs, but it's not wanting to read anything else, and it's filthy inside and everything. So in this video, we took it apart, and I'm going to clean the plastics off stream. Though I do need to do a video one day. I may set a camera up and record me going through that process of cleaning the plastics, because I don't really ever show that. So I may do that. I'm not sure. But we will, on the next video when we come back, we'll continue working on this guy, de-dusting and nasting him and replacing the thermal pads and putting everything back together the way it should. And I will look for the disk drive file to see if I can print off that front disk drive that's broken. I may have to print another color and paint it, but that's no big deal. That is what it is. I think I might have some black, a little bit left. We'll try to print that. I may resin print it if push comes to shove and I don't have any other option, but I doubt it. Should be fine. At any rate, ladies, gents, listen, thanks for coming and hanging out with me, man. I really appreciate it. We're going to be doing some shorts and stuff like that. I'm going to be filming this week, so be looking for those. They'll be going on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and all the rest of it. And listen, if you guys don't follow me on those other platforms, you should. So I have been putting, 5-minute warnings or, 30-minute warnings up when I'm fixing to go live on Twitter. We're fixing to start doing that on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and all the rest of it. So be looking for those too. You guys go check them out. The links are in the description down below the video. Yeah, go check those out. At any rate, thanks for coming and hanging out, guys. I appreciate it. We're going to get back to this one later in the week and see if we can't get him fully functional, restored, and ready to rock and roll. And as far as me, well, I will definitely 100% see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.